Have you ever wondered why one day you're so motivated, so goal driven, and yet the next day you can't seem to get out of bed in the morning? It's because there's two forces fighting over you, and that's procrastination and ambition. And I'd argue that instead of there being a fight, really, it's more like an angel and a devil on your shoulder telling you which way to do what to do. And oftentimes you find that you'll be flip flopping around, going from one to another. And because of that, you end up at this extreme where you're so motivated and then you're not motivated at all. And it sucks. It sucks because you want to always have those days where you're motivated. You want to have those days where you're always goal driven, where you're actually enjoying yourself. And it's so awesome to feel those days, and yet half the time we're not even there. So what's the problem? If we know that procrastination and ambition are fighting over us, and yet half the time we keep flip flopping around either way, why? I'd argue that it's because we keep listening and pulling in the wrong direction. Because I feel like it's more like a tug of war game where procrastination and ambition are fighting each other, but you're the rope. But because you're actually a part of the game, you can influence it. You can influence to, for example, run in a direction towards ambition, but you can also run towards procrastination. And so if we keep flip flopping around, we keep going from one to another, what's happening? In a metaphor, I would say that you want to run towards ambition, right? Because you want to be ambitious. But because it's a tug of war game, you get mixed around, you eventually fall over and you get turned around. And because you fall over and you turn around, you lose your sense of direction. And so you're kind of dazed and confused, and so you just start running towards the other end of the rope because you think that it's ambition. And really the main point that I just had there was that if you don't have a sense of direction, then you're going to keep flip-flopping around as you are right now. You have to have a sense of direction. But what does that actually mean? Because I can tell you that easily enough, but to actually have a sense of direction, I'd argue, I think that there's two main things. You have to have macro direction and micro direction. So macro as in the large end goal that you have. The large scale that this is what I'm working towards right now, that I'm not going to get anywhere soon, but I'm going to get there eventually, just in the long-term plan. But that's easily enough. That's easy enough. Most people have one of those, but the most thing I think that people are missing is to have a short-term direction, i.e., like an example, literally right now, this very moment, what are you doing that's actually getting you to that goal? Because having a goal is easy enough, but having a set of steps to get there is honestly the hard part. If you can get those set of steps, then you're set. If you just keep doing them over and over again, you'll get there eventually. And so how do you get that? So large scale direction, you actually just have to set a big goal. It's that easy. I can't tell you what goal to set. This is just straight up to you. But small scale, micro scale, I would write out a plan of what are the essential tasks that you need to do every day. So if you set a big goal of getting jacked, really the three main steps to get there is diet, you just have to eat well. Working out, you actually have to exercise. And three is probably consistency, is to just repeat the steps, the last two steps. It's that easy, right? If you can set down those three simple steps and you can actually follow them, then you'll get jacked. It's just a byproduct. But most people are missing those, or even if they have them, they're not actively, consistently doing them. And so a big thing that helped me was to have a daily task list that I have to do. Even if I have to repeat the same thing over and over again, I'll still get reminded about it. And even better, a step above that is to have it as a part of your routine. For example, I work out in my morning routine. It's that simple. Like, I don't even have to be reminded of it. I just do it in my routine. And so it's out of the way. I don't even have to think about it. And it's because I do it in my routine, it's so easy for me to do. My brain is on autopilot most of the time, and yet I still do it. And so, base level is just like a task list, just to remind yourself. High level, where you eventually want to get to, is where you want it part of your routine, so you can't forget it. And once you have those steps and you actually do them, you'll eventually get there. And because you have that sense of direction, you'll never get mixed up in thinking that procrastination is ambition and vice versa. If you can have a sense of direction, you won't be in a curve like this where one day you're at the highest high, but the next day you're on the lowest low. If you have a sense of direction, you'll just be going like this. It's that simple.